are you considering a possible run for Congress for the 22nd District?
You know, I haven't made any decisions about what my future is. I mean, I think we've talked about this briefly before, that I have been encouraged and by individuals locally and by individuals in Washington to consider running for Congress. It's never something that I really thought about until I was somewhat recruited, or somebody else initiated the conversation. But
who?
Well, the individuals locally and individuals in Washington.
I mean, who locally originated the conversation?
Well, I'm not going to get into the specifics on it, but there are a lot of people, who are encouraging me to consider running for Congress, and there's actually other individuals who are encouraging me to run for other seats as well.
County executive.
That may or may not be one of the seats that people are encouraging me to consider.
Well, tell me, and again, this is in the context that in the city of Binghamton, with term limits, after you finish your second term in office, you cannot serve another term. So, I mean, everybody, and hey, it's human nature. You have to plan for the future somehow, so you have to look, always consider potential options. So seriously, tell us a little bit about what goes into a complicated, in my view, probably a very complicated equation of deciding what would be best for you, best for the people of the city of Binghamton, best for people in the region, and going forward in the years ahead.
Sure. Well, so I'll answer this the best I can, and if you it's up to you to tell me whether you believe it or not, because I've told you this before, and I think people kind of laugh when I say I love the job I have, and that's the answer that most people say. But my goal was never to use the mayor's office as a stepping stone to anywhere. The mayor's office for me was always the destination. That was where I wanted to go. That's where I as you know, I'd worked for Rich Bucci for 6 years, an excellent mayor. And my plan and goal was to run for mayor, win, and then run for re-election. If there were not term limits, I would tell you right now that regardless of what people are encouraging me to run for, I would run for mayor of Binghamton again. And so, that's the reality of it. Now, I didn't run for mayor with the goal of, having my life be a professional politician. So, one option, which you really have never asked me about and no one really ever asks me about, is do I just finish out my term and not run for anything and go back to that's an option for me. I mean, that's in the calculus.
But at this time, do you view that as an attractive option? After serving 2 terms of mayor of Binghamton, come December 31st, 2021, saying, yeah, I'm done with the public life. I'm going to go back to other opportunities.
Sometimes. The reality is, sometimes that is an attractive option. But, also, you've there have been a lot of people who have supported me and invested in me, and I think my record of accomplishment as mayor has caught the eye of a lot of different stakeholders who want to encourage me to run for different offices, including some offices that you haven't mentioned.
Such as?
Well, things that I wouldn't necessarily consider.
Governor?
But no, I wouldn't consider.
President?
I wouldn't run for president.
Mayor Pete is running for president. I mean, there are mayors.
Let me tell you, at the winter meeting of the New York Conference of Mayors, you would be amazed by how many of those mayors were like, South Bend, Indiana, 67,000, and my city's 1 million or 2 million or
Binghamton,
900,000.
47, 48,000.
It's not that much bigger than Binghamton, and he's, I wouldn't call him a front runner, but he's certainly near the top of the pack.
He's getting his share of media attention. I mean, who knows a month from now? But it does prove the point, though, that in the world there are almost limitless opportunities.
Right.
Here's a question, in all seriousness, though, with after being successful with 2 elections for mayor of Binghamton, wouldn't you, though, as a person who is now in politics, view it as a potential squandered opportunity. I mean, you've built up name recognition in Binghamton and throughout the southern tier, and perhaps this also pertains to some of the people who, the nameless people, who are encouraging you to consider a run for Congress, to not take advantage of the opportunity
Right.
of what has happened. And also, you would say, as a potential candidate, and the record that you've established over the last several years.
Well, first of all, thank you for saying 2 successful terms as mayor. I appreciate that.
I'm not talking about successful terms. You were successful at winning election. I'm not critiquing.
Yes, I see how quickly you threw a disclaimer on
Yes.
that, but when we started on the teleprompter, it was no. I understood that.
Right.
So a couple of things. In all seriousness, the one of the top factors to me is where I could make the most difference. It's not just about running for office and winning. And for a lot of people, it is just that, running for office and winning. I felt that there was a lot I wanted to do for the city of Binghamton, and that I felt I could do, taking ideas off the drawing board and making them a reality. And I think a lot of people struggle with that. I think there are a lot of people out there that have good ideas, that sound really good, that are very articulate, and that can talk and that can run for office and win, but they can't deliver. They can't deliver results, and there's a whole lot of reasons why they can't do that. And so one of the things that's important for me is my goal is not just to run for a higher office and win, is if I'm going to run for office, I want to make sure that I can deliver for, in this case, the residents of the city of Binghamton, because I don't want anyone to ever regret voting for me. People voted for me the first time based on my potential, based on the plan that I outlined. They voted for me for re-election based on the results that I delivered. And moving forward, that is a key factor in the calculus. I think there are a lot of people that look at just the numbers on a sheet of paper that say, this person's probably attractive based on the size of this district and the voter enrollment and this and that, and he's probably somebody that can win, and that's true. I mean, that is true. But from my standpoint, I want to accomplish things, and I want to go to an office where it is possible to accomplish things and to get results. And there are a lot of people in places that, for whatever reasons, can't deliver, and I'm not eager to put myself in an area where I'm able to win, but I'm not able to deliver results.
Realistically, and let's focus just on the possibility of a run for Congress. Realistically, when would you have to make a decision?
I realistically would probably have to make a decision before the end of the year, and then in the next few months or before.
And what would happen if you did decide to run? Could you continue to remain in office as mayor?
I believe so. I haven't made a decision whether or not I'm going to run, so my intention is to right now focus on the city of Binghamton. I'm trying to answer your question based on the hypothetical. This is why I don't really like to answer hypotheticals.
Well, but
I would say that, forget about me. I would just say anybody who is considering running for the New York 22nd seat would probably need to, and that would include Claudia Tenney, would probably need to make an announcement before the beginning of the third quarter, which is October 1st or shortly thereafter. Now, maybe in her case, as a former incumbent, she might have a little bit more time. Maybe she can start at the beginning of next year. I think that would be a little bit too late for her. But for anybody else, the reason you see people announcing early is because they need to raise money. I'm certainly conscious of, potential deadlines that are out there.
you have money.
Actually, I really don't have a lot of money. I have
How much
some
money do you have left over from
I
the
think
previous campaign?
I think I have maybe less than $20,000.
Could that be used toward a congressional
No,
run?
it couldn't, actually. Based on federal and state laws, it could be used for another, state or county or city post, but not a federal law. So you have to start from scratch based on the federal laws.
So realistically, if you decide to pull the trigger, would you make an announcement by October 1st?
Well, I can't answer that because, I'm really not. I haven't made any decisions on. I haven't made a decision on if I'm going to run for any office, period, at all. So you want to talk about New York 22, and I understand that because my name has been circulated by other people, not me.
And you're not unhappy about that.
No, I think it's quite flattering, actually, that there are individuals in Washington in congressional leadership. For some way, I've landed on their radar screen, and I've been invited to Washington to meet with a lot of different people. And
do you have additional meetings scheduled?
I do not. Nope. But anytime you have a chance to go to Washington and meet with top officials in Congress, that's very good for my job as mayor as well.
Do you expect Claudia Tenney will run?
I've had no direct contact with her. I don't know.
Would that play into your decision?
Well, I'm not really my decision.
I mean, if you find out if she announces that she's decided not to try to reclaim that seat in Congress, would you be more prone to run for the nomination?
No, the individuals running, would not be a factor to me.
Stay tuned.